the science of observing and predicting the global coastal ocean to help the ocean decay succeed in its aims and give us the ocean we need for the future we want. And Ocean Observing Co-Design is another UN ocean decay program led by GOOS. It aims to develop a more useful, more user-focused co-design process to evolve a truly fit-purpose, integrated, and responsible ocean observing system. And the co-design sets 6 exemplar projects like this, improving carbon data and advancing cyclone forecasting, sustaining development and conservation of living marine resources, and improving storm surge prediction, and monitoring marine heat wave impacts on biodiversity and economies, and also observing key current systems. And SYNOPS is a common comprehensive project among these 3 UNDK programs. Thus, SYNOPS aims to generate transformative collaboration among them through enhancing the communication between ocean observation and prediction communities. And this slide explains main activity of SYNOPS, which are currently ongoing. First, we plan to make the collaboration for evaluating ocean observing impacts in ocean predictions. More specifically, under the international collaboration, we plan to implement OSEs and OSSEs using various ocean prediction systems with a common setting in order to remove the system dependency. You know, OSE is a simulation or prediction run in which a certain observation type is withheld from or added to. And the regular assimilation data and impact of the observation can be evaluated by comparing these 2 regular run and the OSE runs. And OSSE is the same as OSE, but using virtual observation calculated from high performance simulation. And it is possible to evaluate future observation with OSSEs. And, you know, we plan perform 10 kinds of OSEs as appeared in this figure. And we will collaborate ocean observing co-design, TPOS, and algo science team, and so on for diagnosing the OSE and OSSE results. And we also plan to create the observing system evaluation showcase. We try to appeal the potential of OSEVAL to the ocean science community through journal special issues, special sessions in some academic meetings, and web pages. And I hope the following collaboration is possible in the observing group of the Western Pacific regional team. First, we can collaborate for evaluation of the Tropical Pacific Observing System, or TPOS, in the Western Equatorial Pacific region. Currently, number of the tropical mooring buoys in this region is critically reduced. So, SYNOPS plan to evaluate impact of TPOS according to the request from TPOS Science Advisory Team, which I also participate in. And second, algo community suggested a new design of algo array as shown here. And we can evaluate the impact of doubling of algo float in the Western Boundary Current region and contribute to the community. And third, under the collaboration with the Ocean Observing Co-Design Marine Heatwave Exemplar team, we can evaluate the impact on the marine heatwave prediction in the West Pacific region and evaluate the impact on the coral reef and other marine ecosystems. Actually, we started that kind of collaboration with Tohoku University and some Eastern Asian countries. And for the last, I hope we can collaborate for the evaluation of data observed by fishery industries. New Zealand and Japan Kyushu University started to make that kind of framework to collaborate with fishery industry to get observation data. And I hope collaboration with fishery people is effective to increase ocean observation data in coastal and marginal seas and improve the accuracy of ocean predictions. That's it. I hope many people will be involved in the communication of the observing team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fujii-san, for a very extensive overview of what you have been doing in SYNOPS. And as you mentioned in the chat, we are going to post a link with other ocean decade activities. Thank you very much for joining us from your other activity. This will be also your another activity. Thank you. And so before we go to the next topic on ocean forecasting, I have a request for all the topic leaders, like we have limited time. So each topic will have 7 to 8 minutes. So please, let's try to keep time. And the next topic was ocean forecasting on physics. But before that, I'll request that we give the floor to Molly Powers, because she is leaving soon. She is co-leading the topic on ocean literacy. So Molly, if you are ready, then for a few minutes, you can say something. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fadi. I appreciate it. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. I also have some slides that I can share just quickly to help illustrate some of the points. Okay, are you seeing those okay?
Yes, please.
Great. So just for everyone's background, I am the team leader for ocean management and literacy based at the Pacific community in Suva, Fiji. And I'm also a Goose steering committee member and working on the Observing Together Ocean Decade program, which is seeking to improve the outreach to stakeholders and really ensure that all of our observations are being used to the last mile and being put to best use. So that's another area where there's some overlap here. I'm also currently serving as SPC's coordinator for our regional training center for OTGA. So wearing a lot of hats, but all of them around ocean literacy. I'll just quickly bring you all to our region. We call the Blue Pacific region. So often we're called the Small Island Developing States, or SIDS, but in the Pacific, we like to call ourselves the Big Ocean States, or the BOSS. We have obviously a really large EEZ area. This is larger than the size of the continent of Africa, if you put it all together. And we like to think of ourselves as being connected rather than separated by the ocean. And there's obviously a lot of ocean out here to monitor. So that's a big challenge for us. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Pacific Community, or SPC, it's one of a number of regional organizations, but for the Pacific region, it helps to serve as a technical backstopping and funding and development agency. We have a number of areas of expertise or divisions that we work across, and these include fisheries, geoscience, energy and maritime, human rights, statistics, public health. And I'm based here in the Geoscience, Energy and Maritime team with the Ocean Science and Maritime Transport team. And it's worth noting our organization also is home to the Pacific Community Center for Ocean Science, and that is currently seeking to become a regional decade coordination center as well under the UN Ocean Decade. And we are working across the region with all of our 27 member countries. So those include the 22 Pacific Island countries, as well as our metropolitan countries and members, Australia, New Zealand, the US, France, the UK. So with that, there's a very good reason why ocean predictions and monitoring are important to us in the Pacific. We are among some of the most exposed and vulnerable countries in the world when it comes to these rankings of high exposure and vulnerability. And in most cases, that exposure is to threats around the ocean. So whether it's coastal inundation, tsunamis, heat waves, extreme tides, cyclones, storm surge, many of these threats that come across our region and which are increasing in frequency, sea level rise, of course, they are, we need improved services and ability to predict and monitor these threats. At the moment, this is just a very brief sort of outline of the existing tide gauges. So some of the in situ monitoring that we have in our region. Unfortunately, this is a pretty good vision, actually. I mean, it doesn't look like a lot of dots, but the current disbursement of tide gauges is much better than most of the other in situ monitoring systems we have across the Pacific Islands region. If we look, for example, at the locations of existing wave buoys, it's a much more stark picture. So although there's a lot of really good data out there at the global level, when it comes to local coastal data, we are severely hampered in our region, and that really challenges our ability to do these predictions, particularly those that would be relevant for communities that are in danger of many of the ocean threats. So just as an overview here, some of our gaps and challenges, they're really around the limited national oceanographic capacity and high-level buy-in, as well as varied and siloed ocean user groups often across our region. We are also concerned by the high, we see a lot of parachute science and sort of short-term initiatives, which may only be for groups that come in quickly, do their research and leave. And really, this is one of the most biggest challenge that we face. We'd like to be growing more of our own Pacific-run, Pacific-owned and led ocean science and initiatives which continue on and don't fall over as soon as the funding is gone. And of course, the sparse coastal data, which I mentioned, and the high cost of maintaining and deploying those sensors. So the good news is there is good news, and we have a lot of progress across the region in the last decade, and numerous bright spots to point to and to build upon. There have been a number of national capacity building efforts over the years. We're seeing increased numbers of robust, lower cost sensors, which we have deployed across a number of countries, and we're seeing increased deployment, in particular of wave buoys. There's increased stakeholder and community engagement in many countries, and development of products that are targeted towards some of those different communities, be they private sector communities or different user communities. We have local and international partnerships that we're building, tailored tools and products, and strong regional leadership and collaboration, particularly across the Pacific Meteorological Council. These are some of the areas that we see there can be more capacity strengthening, particularly in our region. So I've got this little image here that shows the different levels of capacity. Of course, it's not just about training for individuals. There's also the capacity of organizations and the enabling environment. As Rameyo said, though, we can't do everything. So I've highlighted a few of some of the key areas where I think it might be relevant for this group to focus on. So this would be in particular building individual capacity, be it via PhD or master's scholarship opportunities or technical or professional training, attachments or secondments. In addition, improving the infrastructure and technology that's available, whether it's increased access to in situ observing equipment or improved remote sensing, satellite observations. LiDAR imagery is a big one, and we're seeing more and more countries are, through big donor investments, able to access that, but there's still a lot of gaps across our region when it comes to detailed bathymetry and detailed LiDAR imagery. And then systems and processes as well. So making sure that there's funding and availability to do ongoing stakeholder outreach, not just once, but to make it a routine where there's a continual feedback loop and opportunity to improve products and build upon the feedback from stakeholders, as well as strengthening the SOPs around our monitoring systems. So those are just a few examples. There's a lot of great development that's happening around the development of Pacific Ocean scientists, particularly through the Pacific Community Center for Ocean Science. And we see one example here is I've shown a colleague, Meleni Tuholeaki from Tonga, who's been pursuing his PhD in tropical cyclone and storm surge through the University of the South Pacific, and here with us at SPC. He's produced 2 papers in the last year, but he's one of very few Pacific island ocean scientists. So we'd really love to see more of this kind of Pacific-led ocean science, right? Not just, the last name on the white paper, but actually leading and driving the research. As well as nationally owned and driven initiatives. This type of increased capacity at the national level also produces more locally relevant information products and allows us to integrate traditional knowledge with modern science. And there's so much that we can all learn really from the traditional management practices and traditional knowledge that still exists within the Pacific Islands. And then when it comes to ocean literacy, which Romain really spoke effectively to, there's a critical element there as well. It's not just about investing in the high level individuals, but also just general appreciation for what ocean observations can do for us. We've seen that not just at the community level, but at the political level, policymakers, when people understand ocean observations and what they can do for them, they're more likely to invest in observations. They're also more likely to heed warnings, to participate in community observation or citizen science efforts, and to respect sensors. And this is an issue as well. The destruction or the vandalism of sensors we've seen happening in some areas across the region. So if there's better communication about this, it can be a really critical component going hand in hand with the observation sessions. I won't go into further detail. We've got lots of bright spots, lots of great stories about the work that's happening in the region, but just very briefly touching upon some of the future opportunities. There's an initiative called Floating University across the Pacific Islands in collaboration with SPC, NIWA, and others. This is a great sort of targeted technical opportunity. We'd like to see more of these types of opportunities, secondments, maybe some embedded expertise within our region, as well as the development of courses. And I'm just highlighting that Pacific Islands conference that's coming up later in this year around ocean science and ocean management. There has been a call for abstracts, so if there's interest to participate in this, it's now available. And that brings my presentation to a close. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much, Molly, and for such extensive information about the South Pacific Islands. I think we are looking forward to work together. Thank you very much. I would have requested next Adi, the co-lead for the ocean literacy from BRIN, but we have the honor of having Minister for Agriculture, Fishery and Environment of Palau, Mr. Steven Victor. So he is leaving soon. So I request Steven to speak next.
Thank you, Swadhin, and good afternoon to everyone. And thank you for the opportunity to speak at this event. Mali has provided a very good overview of ocean science needs for the Pacific, and that includes the needs for Palau as well. I'll focus on sort of the policy interventions that Palau, as well as the sub-region of Micronesia and then the wider Pacific, are sort of focusing when it comes to the ocean. So as Palau, we support 100% ocean management with a view of protecting at a minimum 30% of the ocean as a full protection. Palau currently has achieved 30% full protection on its coastal marine ecosystem, and we have essentially closed 80% of our exclusive economic zone from commercial fishing. We've realized some benefits, but as well as impacts of that large-scale closure to food security as well as economic benefits to Palau. And we are going through a marine spatial planning process with the aim of finding a balance between protection and production. Palau values the role of the ocean in mitigation of climate change, as well as its contribution to biodiversity and people. And we have a policy in place that ban deep sea mining and bottom trawling. So as a country, we have put in place a policy that ensures and protect the ocean because of its importance to the people of Palau to mitigating climate change and importance of the health of the ocean to the global community. When it comes to the sub-region of Micronesia, Palau is part of this regional initiative that we call a Micronesia Challenge. It is an initiative that aims to effectively manage 50% of the ocean. And that's an initiative that's being spearheaded by Palau, the territory of Guam, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, the Federated States of Micronesia, and the Marshall Islands. It's an initiative that has been going on for 10 years, achieving a lot of success in building networks as well as capacity building and protecting large coastal marine ecosystems across Micronesia. When it comes to the Pacific in general, under the Pacific Island Forum and under the 2050 Pacific strategy, the region has in place a framework for Pacific Oceanscape, which addresses the sustainable development and management of the ocean. There's also a framework for nature conservation and protected areas, which guides nature conservation planning, prioritization, and implementation. And the Cleaner Pacific 2025, which is the region's framework to address waste and pollution, with thematic plans to address regional marine litter and regional marine spill contingency. When it comes to the ocean prediction, I think some of what may be relevant to this network is Palau will be hosting the Office of the Pacific Ocean Commissioner. We're opening the office in Palau toward the end of May. And the Office of the Ocean Commissioner focuses on strengthening ocean governance, improving understanding of challenges and opportunities within the regional ocean, build support for region's effort to sustainably develop, manage, and conserve the ocean, and strengthen coordination and collaboration between ocean stakeholders, and evaluate progress made against the framework for Pacific Oceanscape. So that's an office that I think will fit well within the sort of ocean prediction alliance concept. Palau also has put a bid for to host the Global Ocean Observing System Regional Secretariat. So this is under IOC and under UNESCO. So if successful, Palau will be hosting that secretariat. So again, these are opportunities for Palau participation within this process, which I think fits well within Palau's policy priorities, as well as direction for how we're hoping to build capacity within Palau to increase participation in this network. And of course, Palau is a member of the Secretariat of Pacific Community, and we have access to the science and information that Malia Pars has spoken about. And I leave it there. And again, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak at this session.
Thank you, Minister Stephen Victor. It was a pleasure to have you with us, and we are looking forward to connect with you and your new office. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pacific Community Office, and we are looking forward to have you sometime in Tokyo, and maybe sometime we'll visit your office. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And so we'll go back to the ocean literacy to listen to co-lead Andri Rameyo from National Research and Innovation Agency, BRIN, Indonesia. Adi, please.
Thank you very much, Swadim. So how many minutes do I have for presentation?
If you can, 4 or 5 minutes, please.
Wow.
We are running out of time. Sorry about that.
Okay, I'm trying. So, oh, sorry, this is a wrong file. Let me stop first. So I'm trying to share about the ocean literacy, and because of short of time, so I try, maybe I will not all slide will be presented. So this is me. So I skip this. So for the for the background, all what I would like to share today is actually based on my personal experience on how to conduct ocean literacy at a national ocean literacy action at a national level, and also with some highlight from at least 2 workshop that I attended this year and last year. Here, in this slide, as a background, I took from some highlight from East Asia Sea Workshop on maritime cooperation. Tell that in this region, I think East Asia region is a part also in our region, WBMC. So there are opportunity also, but also there is there are challenges. Opportunity is this region provide a huge of resources, ocean resources that can be utilized for ocean economic development to achieve what SDGs 2030 decade, to achieve our ocean, our future. But on the other hand, this region also facing some environmental and social economic problem. For example, overexploitation of resources, destructive economy, degradation of the habitat and ecosystem, pollution, and also climate change. So actually, what I want to say is how to bring the existing situation in our region to move, to change, to achieve the ocean we need and for the future we want. So during the discussion in AIS workshop, we know that one of the important issues is about the knowledge to behavior gap, because we have a lot of knowledge of the ocean, but knowledge is not direct lead to the behavior, to the good ocean governance. So there is a gap. There's a gap. So we need to make a closer this gap from knowledge to behavior, from knowledge to the governance through the ocean literacy. Why? Because the knowledge and fear gap is actually because there are a lot of people, community, professional, high-ranked people, is a lack of ocean literacy. So we need to build ocean literate people at all levels, both policy and action. The ocean literacy is actually here we adopted from NOAA definition. NOAA definition is about understanding and also interest people to the ocean, that ocean influence on you, and also we or you influence to the ocean. So an ocean literate person is actually they have understanding about the essential principle and fundamental concept about the function of the ocean, and also can communicate about the ocean in meaningful way, and also able to make responsible decision regarding the ocean and resources. So this is actually the one is important issue that we capture from the previous discussion, and several highlight to be done in how to close knowledge behavior action gap and knowledge governance action gap, also suggested during the discussion. Basically, we need to implement improvement ocean literacy at all levels, not only for the community, but also for the high-rank people, for the policymaker, for professional, for business men, and everything that they have related to the the ocean activity or using. So also why it's important from my perspective, a personal perspective, is actually ocean literacy can be used to help UN decade for moving forward, particularly to provide Generation Ocean program or Gen Ocean program, the campaign or awareness program that will build knowledge and drive action to restore and protect the ocean. In the other words, is ocean science, how to make ocean science, how to use ocean science for humankind. And for the region, this also can be used to build community resilience in the region, and also can be used as one of our roadmap to sustainable ocean management in this region. So on that perspective, we try to suggest objective and for at least for 2 or 3 years, next 2 or 3 years. One is the first step is we need to network and inventorying all the initiative on ocean literacy in this region, and then developing our ocean literacy framework. So we suggest based on our experience through activation, generation, innovation program. And then maybe next year, or maybe start from this year, we once we have a networking and we have some baseline of knowledge inventory, we can build a strategic action for 5 years ocean literacy action in this region. So this is what we try to promote for this region. So basically, we need to have a platform. The ocean literacy is basically an impact-based action. So that means it is very important to to draw the impact, what kind of impact that we need to achieve, and in terms of indicator or goals that we can measure in the future through the generation campaign, and with a baseline of activation of all knowledge that we have, including traditional knowledge. So the rest of my presentation is actually just to have some idea based on our work previously. One is we use a structural approach. That means based on the government program. For example, we have the ocean literacy takes to school with some curriculum, and also we conduct some cultural expedition for young generation. But beside a structural approach, we also need, this is also very important, to have a cultural approach. So we from this side, we work a lot with local people to promote about how to make ocean literate people at the community level. But we also try to invite young generation, youth, student. And the last one is we try to deploy the art and cultural work as a platform, as a media, to how to deliver the knowledge to become people literacy. So this is, I think, is very important, and we have done this program, I think, more than 3 years, and I think this is also can be something that we can promote as a collaborative media in this region. The last one is we need a showcase. I think this is also very important. For example, in Indonesia, there is one showcase is very, very nice, using their knowledge their local knowledge, their culture. They try to make a ocean literate community by their own language, and this is can be as one innovation center actually. And what happened after several years, this island promoted as one of innovation center that can adopted to the more than 30 another islands. So I think those what I want to share today. Thank you very much. Hopefully we can, I'm sure that every country in this region has their own experience and also their own best practice that can be promoted as a showcase, so that we can exchange and we can work together on collaborative platform. Thank you very much, Fadi.
Thanks a lot, Adi, for extensive overview of the present state and what you are planning to do in the future. This is just to showcase what's happening now, but in future we'll hold more topic related meetings where you can discuss more extensively about what is happening and what we want to do. Especially ocean literacy is very important for us. I think at the moment people are not using ocean forecasts like weather forecasts. So we need a lot of literacy. Thank you very much. So let's go back to the original list of topics. So our next speaker will be Bin Xiao from First Institute of Oceanography, China, about the ocean forecasting physics topic. Bin, yes. Yeah, we can see. Thank you.
Thank you, Svetkin, backup professor. I'm Bin Xiao from the FIO, MAR China. I'm very glad to be here to give a short talk on the present status and the future scopes of ocean forecasting in the WPMC region physics. And here's my contents of my talk. First, I'm going to introduce why physics matters. What is model physics? The model physics can be divided into two categories. And the first is the resolved model physics. And this is the essence of the model prediction. And the model prediction depends on the resolved model physics. And also it depends on the model resolution, the adopted mathematical equations, and the parameterized physics. And the second category is the unresolved physics. And we also call it the subgrade scale parameterization. It depends heavily on our scientific understandings of the physical processes. And why the physics is important? Because the model physics determines the realism of our ocean model and the accuracy of the ocean forecast. Second part is the present status. And the physics of turbulence is a control factor of the vertical mixing in the upper ocean. And the commonly adopted vertical mixing schemes such as KPP, TKE, and MV 2.5 extra have achieved great success in many important aspects. For example, in the coastal tidal sharing mixing representation and the convection parameterization. However, there is still a big room to improve. One common bias the traditional mixing scheme is facing is that the simulated summer mix layer depth is too shallow due to insufficient mixing. This indicating that the poor understanding of the turbulence in the upper ocean. Fortunately, we have made important progress along this gap to solve this problem. And we have proposed the wave-induced mixing to remedy this insufficient mixing. And the reason that the traditional vertical mixing scheme have a common basis is because the surface wave induced mixing is absent in the mixing scheme. So the BV scheme accounts for the non-breaking wave induced mixing and very successfully remedy these biases. And this achievement of BV scheme remind us that we should seriously taking account of the wave circulation coupled processes. The second point is the tidal dynamics. For the region, we care about the West Pacific and marginal seas of South and East Asia is a strong tidal region. And for the explicit tide is now indispensable for the coastal ocean modeling. However, for the ocean model covering large domain, for example, the Western Pacific regional models or even global ocean models, the explicit tidal processes are usually absent. And in recent years, the high resolution ocean modeling or models covering large domains began to include the tide explicitly. This is a very giant progress for ocean model development. However, we still facing several physics problems. One of them is that in this kind of model, new tidal dissipation schemes that is designed for tide circulation fully coupled process is still needed. The third part is future scopes. The first, we might propose that in the next generation ocean model physics should have a model framework of surface wave circulation two-way coupled models. And in this new framework, we can achieve two advances. One is the wave effects on the circulation, and the second is circulation effects on the waves. In the first aspect, we can take account almost full set of the wave effect in our coupled model system. For example, the surface wave induced mixing, stock drift, and even the wave effect in the air-sea fluxes. And in the second aspect, the circulation effect on waves will add more faithful details in the wave forecasting. This figure shows the simulated wave significant height in the model considering the sea surface current and in the model without sea surface current feedbacks. And the second point is that we might need to develop new atmosphere ocean boundary fluxes schemes. And in the new schemes, the wave effects must be considered. This figure shows the new observations that reveals that the CD in the momentum flux calculations is depend heavily on the wave state, and the CD, this kind of effect is absent in the traditionally used bulk formula. The third point is that we might try our best to resolve explicit tide in this specific region, because the tide is very energetic. This also will achieve ocean forecasting, including realistic unbalanced motions. And we still have two obstacles to overcome for this new generation ocean model development. First is the new tidal dissipation schemes that can distinguish the resolved and unresolved tidal conversions. The second obstacle is that we need to develop more realistic, energetically constrained mixing schemes, including internal waves. This figure shows that in the models with explicit tide, the initial gravitative wave spectrum energy is significantly enhanced, and our ocean forecasting in the future should include these realistic unbalanced motions. And the fourth point is that as the computing power of our modern high performance computing center is increasing, the model horizontal resolution is increasing at the same time. So for our next generation ocean model, we might have the capability to resolve or at least permit the submesoscale motions. So this figure shows that compared to the traditional 10-kilometer resolution models, the next generation about 3-kilometer resolution models may have much increased EKE simulation compared with the satellite observations. And this also indicates us that we can learn valuable scientific knowledge about the submesoscale movement physical processes, and this knowledge is also very useful feedback for our coarse resolution models. The last but not the least is that the development of our model physics, the international cooperation is indispensable. For example, for the next generation real-time river discharge schemes, we may need international data cooperation to over the discharge data from different countries to calibrate our satellite-based data sets and models. So this is my summary. In the community of ocean modeling, surface waves, tide currents, and ocean circulations have been separated into different streams. And for our region, for the region we care about, we need to merge these different streams for new generation model development. And for the future scopes of the model physics in the West Pac and marginal seas of South and Eastern Asia, the fully coupled surface wave tide circulation coupled motion model should be our model development directions. And we still have several facing obstacles, including novel air sea fluxy schemes and internal wave dissipation and mixing schemes to overcome. And in this process, international cooperation on data and model intercomparison and validation is indispensable. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, BRIN. And it was very nice. I totally agree with the topic you raised, those 3 and 4 important physics topic we need to take care in your topic. As I said, we are also looking for co-lead for ocean forecasting physics to work together with BRIN. So if anybody volunteer, will be welcoming. Thank you. Let's move on to the next talk. Next talk will be given by my colleague, Hakase Hayashida. He will talk about ocean forecasting biogeochemistry. He is the topic lead. We are also looking for a co-lead for this topic. Hayashida-san, please.
Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Behar-san, for the introduction. So yeah, my name is Hakase Hayashida, and I'm the topic leader for the ocean forecasting biogeochemistry. I'm at JAMSTEC, and I think compared to the physics, ocean biogeochemistry forecasting is still emerging field. So at our own institution, JAMSTEC, we do have the physical operational forecasting system, but we don't have that biogeochemical system yet. So we are in the process of developing such system. So I'm just going to talk about the overview for the vision for this work in progress. So I titled JCOP BGC. And so what is JCOP? So the JCOP stands for the Japan Coastal Ocean Predictability Experiment. And the JCOP is basically it's an operational forecasting system that we provide to publicly available to anyone interested. And JCOP has been operational over the last 20 years and more. Since the beginning of this century has been operational. We provide the forecasting information every week. And currently we provide more than just every week, but every few days. And there are different configurations of JCOP. Depends on the need of the end users. We can provide high resolution information at the 200 meter resolution, and then up to sometimes we might need large scale information on a longer time scale also information. So in recent years, the JCOP team has developed this near global configuration called FGO. This is at 10 kilometer resolution, and that's aimed at decadal prediction. The standard operational products of JCOP is the JCOP 2 here at the 9 kilometer resolution that covers the Western Pacific, North Pacific, centered around Japan. And also the JCOP TDA. This one has a tidal resolving version of the JCOP 2 or the updated, at the 3 kilometer resolution. Okay, so the idea is to implement biogeochemistry module into JCOP. So to do this implementation, I just list three sort of big specific topics or technical aspects that we want to implement. So first of all, we want to use the model that is flexible in terms of the stoichiometry of the phytoplankton. And we will implement also the dissolved oxygen and the carbonate chemistry modules. And we plan to do data assimilation of the daily satellite chlorophyll observations in order to generate realistic initial conditions for the forecast. And we also hope to incorporate the emerging biogeochemical algal floats that we don't have many around Japan at the moment, but I think in the next incoming decade, I think we will increase that observation capacity so we can incorporate that into the modeling. And thirdly, within JCOP, with the physical system, we are developing the system to have the ensemble prediction forecasting, so we can follow the physical system to do the same for the biogeochemistry. And what can we do with the biogeochemistry? So there are, I think, a few examples that I list here. So, phytoplankton important for the ecosystem from a bottom-up perspective. So we can provide information on the phytoplankton bloom, when the bloom is going to develop, or how big is going to be this bloom is going to be. And we also, there are many biogeochemical extreme events, right? So such as the harmful algal blooms, hypoxia, acidification, and the too much or less nutrients conditions. So if we can focus this and then give a early warning, it will be useful for some stakeholders. And also biogeochemical extremes can happen with other type of extremes, physical extreme events such as marine heat waves and heavy rainfall and typhoons. So these will be interest to some as well. And last slide. So for the ocean forecasting biogeochemistry team, we need a co-lead. So if you're a biogeochemical modeler or do a forecasting, please get in touch. And we're looking for members as well. You don't have to be, biogeochemical experts, but interested in that in this topic. Please join us. And just the gaps that I thought, just when the Behera-san was mentioning all the topics, I just came up with this slide. So I think operational products of the biogeochemical products are much less compared to physical products. So that this is a gap in the field. And maybe in this region, particularly, I don't know any products that are available. So yeah, this is a gap. And also, maybe, yeah, so I also don't know what kind of information that stakeholders are looking for in terms of biogeochemical products. So, so I think this belongs to the ocean literacy or capacity building. So to learn each other, model from the research and the end user work together, and we learn, yeah, how can we work together to use the biogeochemical information for specific and different type of applications. Okay, so thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much, Hayashida-san. Excellent talk, giving us overview and also gaps. So definitely we need more products, no doubt about that, and also make it more popular and let user use them for their benefits. Thank you very much. And so next topic is on ocean forecasting climate, co-led by my colleague Masami Nonaka-san from JAMSTEC and my friend Fadi Syamsudin from BRIN, Indonesia. And because of the festival in Indonesia, thanks to many of our participants from Indonesia, thanks for joining us in spite of the festival today. So Fadi could not join today, but Nonaka-san will present on behalf of both of them. Nonaka-san, please.
Can you see the slides?
Yes, yes, please go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. So yeah, as Behara-san mentioned, unfortunately, Fadi-san couldn't join this meeting today. So I'd like to talk about the ocean forecasting climate part from myself. And for the ocean forecasting climate part, we'd like to discuss about these 4 items: prediction of climate, prediction of ocean that can affect climate, and also observations of ocean that can affect climate and others, if any. So yeah, unfortunately, we have asked Fadi to mention about the observational related part. So I'd like to talking about the first 2 items today. So here we'd like to show some example we are doing at JAMSTEC. First, for prediction of climate itself, we have conducted experimental operational seasonal climate prediction here at JAMSTEC application lab. So, and we do the seasonal prediction every month and provide the information on the website as I showed here. And we'd like possibly to expand these seasonal climate prediction activities to predictions of heat waves and extreme events such as typhoon activities. And for the prediction of ocean that can affect climate, we have developed a 3-year lead semi-global eddy-resolving ocean prediction system with an ocean model with horizontal resolution of 1/10 degree. So these are the example of the retrospective forecast for the closure extension jet speed and also Gulf Stream jet speed. So we can see some good prediction skills here. And these strong warm currents can affect mid-latitude climate through huge amount of heat release from the side to atmosphere. So I think that it is a good first step to share this kind of information among the members of the countries. And also it is good if we can develop data providing processing system, like a digital twin system, if it is possible. Okay, that's all from myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nonaka-san, for giving us the overview of present status and what you are planning, especially the digital twins. Of course, we also need to improve a lot on climate processes based on the observations, which I was expecting Fadi to say, but unfortunately, he is not here today. Anyway, thank you very much, Nonaka-san. Let's move on to the next topic. Thank you, Nonaka-san. Let's move on to the next topic. The next topic is new digital ocean developments, the digital twins. So DITO is taking a center stage now. We are trying to have a digital twin of our oceans so that we can not only just predict, but apply it to for various things. And this topic is co-led by Yasumasa Miyazawa-san, who chaired the first session from JAMSTEC, and Dakui Wang from National Marine Environment Forecasting Center. But Dakui is not speaking today. On his behalf, Dr. Liying Wang is speaking from National Marine Environment Forecasting Center, NMEFC. So first, Miyazawa-san, please. Miyazawa-san, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you.
I am Miyazawa JAMSTEC. I'm talking about the possible concept, two concepts of digital twins of ocean. The types of number of oceanic data, including observation and model, are increasing day by day, as you know. Those data exist scattered throughout the internet or the private sectors. It would be possible to develop acquisition and synthesis of the data in more convenient manner. Nowadays, various kinds of observation and model data are available through the internet. But we are able to download them as we like. But the data amount is increasing day by day. It would be difficult to download them from the data server to our local environment. So some data centers, including Copernicus, Mercator, etc., provides the Jupyter notebook environment for the data analysis visualization on site. The present mainstream is, that means that the present mainstream is a very big data server plus on-site analysis visualization of this big data lead to digital twins of ocean. But in addition to such concept, I'm considering inter-systems applications. Recently, I myself have deployed the drifting buoys for validation of our ocean current forecast middle of last March. The drifter has been adopted by the surface ocean currents over the last 1 month south of Japan. Here we see the today's view of the buoy locations by watching a website provided by the buoy company. The recent track of the buoy depicts clockwise eddy patterns. The light indicates our ocean current forecast today. We are happy to see that our prediction of ocean currents shows a similar clockwise pattern with V observation. But anyway, in this case, it would be nice to be able to easily overlap the V trajectory with predicted current visualization. Technically, it is not difficult. I can do it by slowly processing all data by myself. But quickly working interactive web application would be better, I think. Also, we can do some particle tracking simulations for further validation of the observed V tracks using this ocean current prediction. Of course, I can do particle track simulations by myself, but quick web app, we require the very applicable, good applications, web applications. So I think the more interactive, connecting various data sources from different systems would be also could be digital twin of ocean. So in this case, anyone is able to construct their My Ocean using various data sources, including their own data through some web applications. This is my small thought about the possible digital twin of oceans. Good to have two concepts. Thank you.
Thank you, Miyazawa-san, for sharing your concept. I agree. Maybe we need the big data and also the small data from each user and projecting them on the digital twins. Thank you very much, Miyazawa-san. So next speaker is Wang from NMEFC.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
How about the presentation?
Yes, it is perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So on behalf of Professor Yu-Fu Jiang and Dr. Wang Dakui, I will give this presentation about the ocean digital twins in our center. This is just a plan for the next 2 or 3 years. We want to build a named Smart Ocean by Ocean Digital Twins. So in our Ocean Digital Twins, we will combine the marine observations, ocean prediction, and human cognition, and we will have the capable of historic reproduce and real-time analysis and some future forecasting. And it make fragmented and dispersed ocean information continuous and completely. And people could reach into the surroundings and perceive the changes. So in our system, it will include the ocean basic spatial and temporal geography data, ocean elements, ocean topography, and simulation model results, and video data. It will display ocean data from multi perspectives, such as space, coast, ocean floor, and ships. From the space perspective, the ocean heat and current flow are displayed, and in the spatial distributions of chlorophyll, sea temperature, and salinity will show from the coast, fish shows, and coral reefs, and so on, from the seabed, and focus on the surface and around the seabed from the vessels. In our system, we will include our numerical forecast products by the Markham model. This model is just developed by ourselves, and we will use the virtual reality of 3D skin manipulation. And we will make the production and lightweight processing of the digital twins products. And we will use the ocean digital twins simulations. Now in our center, we provide various forecasting and pre-warning products by TV show, radio, app, website, and other media platforms. We have different platform to exploit our forecast system, like this system. So that's all. Thank you for attention.
Thank you very much, Liying. I like your idea of video game, three-dimensional video game. Thank you very much, and looking forward to work for the digital twins. So let's move on to the next topic. Next topic is how to connect with the users, and the topic leader is Andri Ramdhani from BMKG, Indonesia. Andri, please.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. May I share my screen?
Liying, can you please share your screen?
It's not available since.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. So I am Andri from BMKG. Now I work in the Center for Marine Meteorology Service. I would like to share our experience in order how we can connect to the stakeholders. So my title of the presentation is an overview of the ocean forecast in support of the maritime multi-sector activities. So I start with the challenge impacts that since Indonesia lies into ocean, Pacific and Indian Ocean. So based on the ice data, is around 8,000 up to 9,000 per day vessels across passing Indonesian seas. And also the fact that based on the our GDP, it's mentioned that in the ocean or the maritime traffic is in the top of 3. So this is the challenge, how the National Meteorology Services or can provide the accurate informations for the weather and also the seascape or the oceans. But of course, right now we have fact that the density of the ocean observation in Indonesia, inner sea, especially in our Indonesian territory or Indonesian territory, is still lacking to support the services. So that's why based on the facts, we have to understand the value chain of the services itself. So the value chain of the services is from the observation, data processing, up to the dissemination, the information services to the public and user sectors. As you can see on the slide, that this is the service is from the observations, and then needs and data processing include the modeling, numerical modeling as well, and also the data catalogs, how to can provide the production and forecast that will be used for the users, various user multi-sector from the marine industry, public agency, port authorities, research and education, general fisheries, TP, and also public service. So that's why in BMKG, in terms of how we can improve it. So we start to enhance our observation network because right now, as you can see in the JACOB report of the ocean ops, very lack of the data, especially in the inner Indonesian seas. And of course, in the modeling aspect, we need also to improve our capacity, how to improve the model output, and also in the disseminations, we need to have some the media can deliver to the user and also understand, and the user can understand the message what we deliver. So first, in terms of how we can improve the observation, in the left side, as you can see that from the statistics, 30 years of data from Global Argo program is, let's say, we from 600 rounds, 600 is only few that come to Indonesia from the global, and also from the river as well. It's very few data come to the. Of course, this we have some, let's say, difficult how to improve the forecast itself, because we lack of data of the observation. So that's why Indonesia through the BMKG from last year up to 2024, we deploy our own drifter and also float data, and of course some fixed station in the inertia to fill our let's say or data in the missing area, so it will be used into the model also for the research and also for the real monitoring system. And then in terms of the forecast accuracy, right now we on a progress to develop the coupling models. Why we need this coupling? As you know, that 240 Indonesian maritime continent dominated by the ocean, is necessity to include ocean and atmosphere parameter to the model in order to optimize the IRC interaction effects. So this couple will consist at least 3 models: the atmospheric models by Wang, and the wave models, swan model, and the ocean dynamic using log. So it will be online couples, and you use the MCT tools, and we'll implement in Indonesian area with 3 kilometers resolutions, so and updated every 6 hours, and we targeted in next years will be operational in Indonesia to support our services. So here's our preliminary results. From the graphical analysis of our INACHAU, it restored demonstrate the enhanced the oceanic mixing from the IRC wave coupling, produce an FTC cooling at certain location. For instance, in the Makassar Strait and Wanda Sea, it has significant impact on the surface heat, moisture, and momentum flux when it coupled with the atmospheric and the ocean, and also the wave turbulence. So talking how we connect to the stakeholders. So based on the value chains from the modeling, production, so how we can deliver it. So in our experience, there is still a gap. So from the observation, modeling, data information, there is a gap in understanding of the information, and also the skill and awareness and the response of the stakeholder or the user itself. So of course, time by time, we need to improve not only the accuracy of the information, but how the people can understand, how the public can use our data with optimized to support their activity. So let's say, for example, in the fisheries, we have a program named by Fishermen Field Schools. So the Fishermen School is how we can connect to the fishermen, traditional fishermen, using this program. So we already done this activity since 2016. So already 10,000 more and less participants, and also the 159 location. Of course, the goal is in the ocean literacy and the stakeholder as well. So on this program, we expect that the improving knowledge about weather and climate, and also the climate change, and their use for the fishermen and coastal community, and also the enhancing the fishermen awareness and preparedness of the extreme weather hazards. And also, of course, in the end, it will be improving the capacity of fishermen to cope with adjust the impact of the climate change. And also, we encouraged by the IOC, by the actions. This program will also plan to be implemented in some country in Southeast Asia and also the Pacific country in the futures. So this for the Pacific is the best practice also how we connect to the stakeholders in the private sector. So now BMKG, BMKG, we already start to do the private engagement, public private engagement on the marine water services. So for example, right now we only can cover around 40% to coverage the users. So now with this PPA joint operation scheme with some private sector, we provide the data, and the private sector can customize, can monetize the services, and can let's say can reach the user, and of course the accuracy and the quality of the service, and can expanding for all the multi-sector, for oil and gas, marine traffic, port shipping, insurance, and also the tourism, and etc. So the goals for this is to have better services delivery, revenue, sustainability, and also enhance the global cooperation and the building resilience. So that's all for me. I will share related how we connect to the stakeholders. Thank you, Fadi, for the time.
Thank you very much, Andri, for a nice overview of what you are doing now, and also how we are engaging with the stakeholders. I think we'll work together to further enhance the stakeholders' use and their experience of using operational products. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Last topic today is about ocean health. I think it's very important for our region. And this is the only topic which is different from the 9 topics proposed by Ocean Prediction. And this topic is led by Aileen Tan from University of Science, Malaysia, and Young-Gyu Park from KIOST, Korea. But Young-Gyu is not here today, so Aileen is going to present. Aileen, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Swadin. You see my slide, right?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. A very good afternoon to the respected audience today. So just to mention again, my co-lead is Young-Gyu Park. He's from KIOS, and unfortunately, he's not able to be with us. I just have a brief introduction of myself. I'm currently the Vice Chair of IOC-WESPAC, and also the Director for Center for Marine and Coastal Study, CIMAX, UST Science Malaysia. Yeah, I would like Swawin has mentioned, this topic, ocean health, is different from what been discussed by the earlier topics. I would like to bring your attention the measurables. How do we consider what are the measurables for us to define ocean health? Of course, first it would be the richness of species diversity in this slides. I'm showing the diversity of fishes. You can see that the highlight of the high diversity is mainly concentrated in the Western Pacific and also maybe the marginal seas. All right, and of course, the ocean health. What does the ocean provide us when we say the ocean is healthy? It will be most probably linked to protein source, food security, and also not forgetting that ocean health has a high value of cultural value as well as our heritage. A lot of times we talk about the scientific impact, the scientific issues, but we forgot that ocean is also providing us the food and also holds the cultural and heritage value of our country and also our region. Yeah, and of course, ocean health ties very closely with blue economy as well as contributing to ecosystem services. And if you look at the graph, the diagram on the right, it shows that when it comes to SDGs and blue economy, the ocean plays an important role. It has a lot of significance contribution to blue economy and SDG compared to the rest of the SDG. That shows how important ocean health is. And of course, when it comes to climate change and human impacts, you can see that besides being a high diversity in this region in the Western Pacific is also very high in terms of human impacts. That is why it makes us more important to look at the ocean health in the region. And of course, the other in general terms, yeah, the threats in this diagram, it was used to say future threats, but now the threats are real and it is here now. Where the ocean is getting warmer, breathless, and acidic. And I'm sure in the earlier topics, you have discussed about ocean observation, ocean forecasting that links to the ocean being warmer, having deoxygenation, and it's getting more acidic. And you can see that it will links to impacts such as sea level rise, coral bleaching. We have more frequent of toxic harmful algae bloom, degradation of habitat, acidification, and fisheries. Yeah, and this stress will soon leads to emptying of our ocean. That will link from what I've mentioned earlier to our food security as well as our heritage and culture. And this to give you the whole perspective of ocean health, like in our keynote speaker, he has mentioned ocean health that also links to human health as well as linking towards human activities. And it will links to population, the ecosystem itself, and the biodiversity. And like I've mentioned, like what earlier on Fujii's son has mentioned, we do not need to reinvent wheels. In here, there's all the projects, existing projects that has been done under the IOC RESPECT, which also Ken Endo, who has just left for another meeting, has mentioned. You know, we are more than open under IOC RESPECT, more than open to collaborate and to share best practices and our existing projects that addresses ocean health, human health, and human activities. Projects such as harmful algae blooms, marine toxic and seafood safety, harmful jellyfish research that impact the fisheries, ocean remote sensing, genetic analysis, coral reef restoration and resilience, and also marine plastics. Yeah. And the next few slides are proposed by the co-leads of Professor Park. He's mentioning about marine debris is one of the issue, because now not only marine debris is been debated vastly, but also we are now moving towards emerging pollution, emerging pollutants such as pharmaceutical product that is entering our ecosystems, into our ecosystems. Emerging pollutants like the nutrients and also the pharmaceutical pollutants. Yeah, and also Professor Park has also mentioned the green and brown algae in the Yellow Sea. What causes the bloom? This also links very closely with the harmful algae bloom that Western Pacific has been doing. Yeah, and also marine heat wave. This has been mentioned also in the other ocean observing and ocean forecasting. So in actual fact, under the ocean health, we have to link all these multidisciplinary groups, topics that has been discussed together. Also connecting it with how do we connect it with the users? Yeah. So under this big platform, I would like to raise issues such as in order to address ocean health, what can we do and what is next? We always have to start with the end in mind. And of course, translating the science into action, not just science for the scientists, but science to the society as well. So of course, this would be a good platform for establishment of engagement with scientists, policymakers, and public, and continue supporting marine science and net technology using existing platforms if it's relevant. And of course, developing healthy STIE, which is science, technology, innovation, and economy, because we cannot, when it comes to ocean health, we have to tie it with our economy, because food security as well as culture and heritage in marine biodiversity, conservation, ecosystem, ocean and human health, and the blue economy. So with that, I end my presentation. Back to you, Sherwin. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Aileen, for not only presenting your viewpoint, also kindly combining Young-Gyu's slides. Thank you very much. And also, we are looking forward to you, Kenando, and finally Xiao to be our bridge between Westpac and this regional team under ocean prediction. Thank you very much. So with that, it's the end of all topic leaders' presentations. I'll hand over to the next chair, Enrique. So Enrique, if you want to have a break for a few minutes, or you want to start because you're running behind this time, up to you.
I think we need a short break.
Yeah, few minutes maybe.
Let's come back in 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay, thank you.
All right.
So we are coming back in 10 minutes for the next presentation. It will be given by Luis and chaired by Enrique. Thank you very much.
So, hello everybody, and welcome back to the meeting. As in the previous session, I want to remind you that the meeting will be recorded. We will distribute the information and the recording and also the presentations on a later stage. Please do not hesitate to participate. Please put your questions on the chat, addressing on the text the person towards who the question is directed, and we will try to be responding all these questions. And without more preamble, I would like to welcome Louis from IOC. We are all fully aware about the importance of the data, and we will talk about this and will explain us the very nice activities that are being done in the framework of the decade to allow us achieve more and more data. Thank you, Louis. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Enrique. Let me just share my screen there. Hope you can hear me and you can see my screen. So thank you very much, Enrique, for the opportunity to come here and discuss with this group and provide you all with a high-level summary and an update on what the Ocean Decade has been doing related to ocean and information management, our data and information strategy. So my name is Louis Demagne. I'm currently in the Decade Coordination Unit team, working with my colleague, whom you probably heard from earlier this morning, Alison Clausen, and focusing specifically on data and information. And from the very beginning of the implementation of the Ocean Decade, it was realized that data and information really form the cornerstone, one of the important cornerstones of the success of the decade. And so it was important to come up with a strategy of how we're going to manage data and information throughout the Ocean Decade. So if I look at a digital ecosystem in general, and you have this data flow from the observations, the data collection coming in, that data is managed, it's curated, and then it's shared. It's then used in these in modeling, in analytics and prediction to extract the insights that we then need to deliver to the end user. And if you think about some of these operational applications, whether it's in meteorology or oceanography, sometimes it's the end user application that gets all the attention, right? And where some investors probably see the biggest return on investment. But these end user applications, like your weather app on your iPhone, would never be possible without all these other elements underneath the observations, the data management, the analytics, and the modeling. And so in order to achieve the goals of the Ocean Decade, we need an enabling environment for a globally distributed ocean data and information ecosystem that connects across disciplines and across geographies. And this is important enough that we decided that we needed a coordinated approach within the Ocean Decade of all these programs and projects that are working towards the challenges. We needed a coordinated approach to make sure that data flow from all the way from the observations to the end user is properly coordinated within the Ocean Decade, but also to lay the foundations for how we can transform the way we collect, use, manage, share, and distribute data and information beyond just the Ocean Decade and the 2030 deadline. So what we have set up is a series of Decade Coordination Offices and Decade Collaborative Centers. Of course, Ocean Prediction is the one we are focusing on today, and that really will help to coordinate the research and activities within the Ocean Decade around analytics, modeling, and prediction. But we also have a Decade Coordinating Office for ocean data sharing that is being set up and by IODE, a branch of IOC-UNESCO, and another one for ocean observing that will be set up by GOOS. And these, just like the Ocean Prediction DCC, these DCOs will have a certain number of programs, of decade-endorsed programs and projects that they will be taking care of and helping to coordinate the research and the communications, the outreach, and the fundraising as well. So, excuse me. What we also soon realized is that so these coordination offices and the endorsed actions that are forming the bulk of their activity within the Ocean Decade, we also needed to figure out, well, what is our strategy for data and information management within the Ocean Decade? And we decided then to form a data coordination group. This is a group that I manage of about 23 global experts on ocean data to come up with this strategy for data and information. But we also realized that in order to fill the gaps in ocean data, of course, we can go out and collect new information, new data, but we can also try to unlock existing data that is out there. And we realized that within industry, a number of private sector companies are sitting on a huge amount of data that could be of tremendous use to research and to the Ocean Decade and beyond. So we decided to try to gather a group of industry private companies to figure out what are the obstacles today for them sharing their oceanographic data, ocean data, and figure out ways and solution strategies that we can unlock and make that data accessible to the public. So we've got these two groups. So the data coordination group has been working for the last year on and has developed an overarching strategic vision and some strategic objectives for managing data, information, and knowledge within the Ocean Decade. We're now currently in the process of developing, or we're about to start developing, what is the action plan now that we need in order to implement this strategy. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And then the corporate data group, as I mentioned, trying to figure out some strategies and frameworks to unlock privately held ocean data. So this is the overarching vision and strategic objectives that the data coordination group has come up with. It's very small, I realize, on the screen there, and I won't go into all of the detail because I can distribute an executive summary of this strategy, which is now available. But just to showcase a few things, that the vision really is to establish and reach a point where we have a globally distributed, trusted, inclusive, and interconnected ocean data and information ecosystem. And that this ecosystem is actively used for decision-making to support sustainable ocean management. So it's not just about data repositories, it's about an enabling environment to come up with these sustainable solutions to ocean management. And the other point I want to make here is that we are not trying to reinvent the wheel. On the contrary, what we need to do is to build on what already exists today. There are some very good examples of data centers, data platforms, and operational ocean modeling services, including Copernicus, that we can learn from, build on, and develop and interconnect all of these different platforms into a interconnected ocean data information ecosystem. So important to figure that out. And it's also going to be a distributed ocean decade system. Right? We're not trying to build a system of systems that could connect, or that could contain all of the ocean data. That would be totally unrealistic. So globally distributed, trusted, inclusive, interconnected ocean data information ecosystem. And to achieve that, we've got these 5 strategic objectives that focus on how that ocean digital ecosystem can facilitate the sharing and equitable access to multidisciplinary data. We have a lot of strategic objectives around the fair and care principles of facilitating discovery and usability of the data, notions of focusing also on the trust in the quality of the data and its provenance and being able to track that and understand where it comes from. Doing all of that, so not just to have access to data, but also to facilitate the development of digital solutions. And last but not least, we have a strategic objective also around the fact that we need people and resources to be able to set this ocean ecosystem up, manage it, and so on. So really focusing on mobilizing and empowering global communities to increase the data literacy, the digital literacy, to be able to advance and maintain this digital ecosystem. So one of the challenges now is to figure out, well, what are the data priorities, the priorities in terms of data, what are the gaps, and what are the capacity needs. So and this is part of the action plan that we're going to develop for implementing the strategies, figuring out what are those priority data sets, where are they today, what do we need to either unlock them or to collect them, and what are the capacity and resource gaps required to be able to get there. And so part of the answer to that will come from the Ocean Decade Vision 2030 program, which is the objective there is to set the ambition for each of the 10 decade challenges, and including those priority data sets. So for each of these challenges, what are the priority data sets that we need? This will feed back into our strategy action plan, but it will also feed into our involvement in the corporate data group, because that's also something that these private sector companies are asking. They're saying, well, we've got a lot of data. What are the priority data sets that you want us to focus on first? Because we can't do everything all at once. So it's kind of a loop here in terms of figuring out those priority data sets, data capacity gaps, and how can we work with the Ocean Decade community, but also with industry and other partners, NGOs and philanthropic organizations, to really focus on those priority data sets that then feed into that whole ecosystem and data flow through data management, data sharing, analytics, prediction, and then into the hands of the end users. Just one more note before I finish. I want to make you aware also of these science industry workshops that we've been running with Hub Ocean, a partner in the Ocean Decade. We had our first one a few weeks ago on industrial ocean data modeling for ocean climate modeling, excuse me. And the whole purpose of that was to bring scientists and industry, private industry representatives to the table and figure out what are those use cases that would be of interest both to science, would have scientific value, but would also have potentially business value to the industry. Because I think that's the incentive, one of the incentives for industry to share their data is to figure out, well, all of this ocean science that we're building is ultimately going to help you, your business, to make your operations more effective, to design your assets, offshore assets, in a more optimized way. Optimized and safe way as well. So we came up with 3 use cases, and these are other examples of where we can help to prioritize those data sets that we need to focus on first. And we've got another workshop coming up in June, which will be an online workshop around biodiversity. So I'm more than happy to share information on that workshop should you be interested. So that's really all I wanted to share with you at this point. But I do want to also point for something else before I leave, is for this data strategy implementation group. So this is the group that we are currently forming that will be responsible for developing the action plan to implement the data strategy within the Ocean Decade. And we are looking for applications for people to come and join this group. And you can have a look at the more detail on this link through the SurveyMonkey application form. There are the terms of references of that group and a description of what the purpose and the goals of that group are. So please look out for that, have a look, and feel free to apply. The applications are open until the 26th of April, so that's next week. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much again for the opportunity to give you a quick update of where we are with data and information within the Ocean Decade, and happy to take any questions online or live. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Luis, for an excellent presentation. And I insist on the possibility of asking questions to Luis and the rest of the panelists using the tool for that on the Zoom. So we move now to the next session, which is about the contribution of end users and stakeholders. As I mentioned on my initial presentation, we are somehow with Ocean Prediction DCC moving out a little bit of our comfort zone, and we are entering into the collaboration framework, into the close collaboration framework with different socioeconomic actors beyond our traditional scientific realm, our traditional scientific domain. So to show this, we wanted to create this special session so the stakeholders, the end users can show us what is being done with our focus. So our first presenter is Kazutoshi Oriuchi. I'm sorry for the presentation if I did it wrong. I hope you are here. Yeah, I see you are here. So please, the floor is yours. You can hear?
Sorry.
Now it's great.
Thank you. My name is Horiuchi from Focus Ocean Plus. I'm honored to have this opportunity. Today, I would like to give a short presentation on our activities to date. Keeping in mind how we are using ocean-focused information. Our company was established in March 29 as a JAMSTEC venture. Our activities to provide consulting services that contribute to the sustainable development of the ocean industry by using the ocean forecasting model developed in JAMSTEC. As you know, there are many ocean currents in the world oceans. Around Japan, the Kuroshio is known for its strong current. In 2008, most of the shipping companies in the world suffered from steep rise in the price of crude oil. At that time, we started to propose our current forecast to shipping companies to reduce fuel consumption by riding or avoiding ocean current. It was the first trial in Japan. In a demonstration experiment with NYK line, almost 10% fuel savings was achieved on a route from east coast of Taiwan to Tokyo, Japan. Now, we and the Japan Weather Association are contributing toward zero emissions by providing ocean forecast through the Polaris navigation service, which suggests energy efficient route that reduce fuel consumption. Progress in research and development with passage of time have evolved to more accurate and higher resolution current forecast model. This progress leads us to apply this information to Japanese coastal vessels for fuel saving. As for traffic volume, in the left side, as for the traffic volume on metric ton basis, trucks assuming about 60% and coastal shipping is 30%. However, when looking at the energy consumption in the light, trucks account for 90%, while the coastal shipping account for only 8%. This fact shows how energy efficient coastal shipping is. This animation shows a sample of current forecast used by coastal vessels. The ocean and tidal currents generate 2 or 3 knots of flow on a daily basis. Standard coastal vessels cruise around 11 knots. So we can imagine the impact on fuel consumption is not so small. We thought It might help to improve the efficiency of high-resolution ocean and tidal current forecasting information, could be visualized and provided to coastal vessels. Consequently, with the support of Sasagawa Peace Foundation, we developed a tablet application and conducted a demonstration experiment to confirm the effectiveness. These figures summarize the result of questionnaire to the crews of 130 coastal vessels using our current forecast for navigation. 70 of vessels gave high marks to the usefulness of the information. And you can see good feedback. Some vessels were equipped with monitoring devices, and their ground speed were also measured before and after using the current forecast for several months on the experimental route. In this figure below, we can see that the distribution of orange, which indicates after the use of the current forecast, is shifted to higher ground speed compared to the distribution of sky blue before the case of the information. Quantitatively, a fuel savings of 2.7% was demonstrated. Now, we have begun collaborating with domestic mobile carriers. They are operating observation buoy, and its data helps us to polish up our forecast information for coastal fisheries, including aquaculture. This map shows the area we are engaged in. This is an example of nori, in English, seaweed aquaculture in the Ariake Sea, located southwest region of Japan. Nori is an important foodstuff closely related to Japanese culture, such as sushi. Seedling cultivation, which expose the young nori sprout attached to the nori net to the air, is very important process to eliminate other seaweed and promote the growth of the nori, which in turn determines the taste, quality, and yield of the nori. Seawater temperature and density were measured prior to work at the seaweed aquaculture zone before deciding the day's work procedure so far. Now, it is more efficient to determine the work procedure in advance by referring to predicted information on seawater temperature and salinity. Finally, I would like to show one of the applications of long-term current reanalysis data to renewable energy. Currently, there are various methods of power generation in the marine field, but offshore wind generation and the tidal power generation are attracting the most attention in Japan. The figure in the right shows the government's plan for the development of offshore wind power by 2030 toward the realization of a sustainable society. Japanese government is strengthening policy action to promote the development. Our long-term reanalysis data is being utilized for the selection of a suitable site and for providing extreme value statistics for structure design. Thank you for your kind attention. Indo.
Thank you very much. I did some comments on the chat related to the problem you are dealing now with crucial currents against pronunciation, and how old this issue is, and how interesting how this was approached on ancient times. So our next presentation is from Indonesia, from Slibar, and the name is Jody Satya. Please, the floor is yours.
So Enrique Satya is on a tour to Singapore for some urgent work, but he sent us the presentation file. I'm going to share it, the video file actually.
Next. No,
yeah. Yes, next. Okay. Oh, sorry. Harisan, if you on share, I want to share.
Sorry.
Okay, so let me share. Advanced basic. Quick time. Share. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. First of all,
You cannot hear now.
Behara-san, I think you have to unmute yourself.
Fadi, we cannot hear the video.
Hello? Oh, sorry.
Topic
okay.
Of getting into it, the operational oceanography in Indonesia, and what basically we've been doing in Indonesia, as we are an oil spill response emergency center. We've been using oil spill modeling and current and wind data to predict the movement of oil. So getting into the slide, maybe I have a few slides to share, next 5 minutes or so. So this is our presentation. So basically, we like to share a few of the recent our experience in using oil spill modeling during actual spills. Simply, we've been using modeling to basically in the first, let's say, first hour or so, when we're not able to get resources there yet, we'll be using the modeling to predict where the oil will go, depending on basically the data of the current, wind. We also input live data on the site we can get from the vessel, and that way we can verify where the oil spill is heading. We use typically vessels and boats, like you see in the picture right here on the slide. So what are we? Oil Spill Indonesia. We are basically an oil spill combat center with Indonesia. We have 6 headquarters bases in Asia. We have resources as well, about 44 kilometers of boom and over 100 skimmers and 200 personnel in Indonesia. Indonesia is very big, and we have over 17,000 islands, and basically 85% of our territory is ocean. And there is a lot of ocean and, let's say, ocean data, current and wind. Every region has different characteristics, and this is one of the lesson learned, and also things we'd like to improve every year, how we can get better, more accurate data, may it be historical or may it be live data that we can use in case we need it, like for a real incident. So we basically respond to all around Indonesia, mostly on the west for the concentration of the vessels and oil and gas operation. And in every incident, oil-spill modeling using live current wind data is one of the very most important things that we do to determine basically what is the effective response strategy to handle that particular incident. So today I'll be getting into incident that's in the northwestern of Indonesia in Aceh. This is a recent one in 2021. So you can see here, the incident happened offshore. It's about 15-20 miles from the shore. Yeah, and you can trajectory modeling is one of the first things we do. We also had a satellite shot, a radar satellite detection. This way, how we do this is we do the modeling first. We overlay it with the radar satellite to verify that the oil spill is heading in that general direction. And then we have vessels and choppers to verify. If that oil is there, then we can have a more solid strategy. If we don't have the modeling and satellite, usually we have to search for the oil in a much more extensive way. The modeling gives us a much more effective way to basically verify and detect where the oil spill will be. We find the source and we find where the oil spill ends, and that's basically the core of our operation. You can see here the strategies. We use the modeling in the very first to basically predict where the oil will go, the source, the end of the oil, let's say just the very first spill, and then we build the response around it. So you can see this is the movie. I'll play this shortly. Hopefully you can see. So this is the movie of one of the trajectory modeling software we use. In Indonesia, we have developed software as well. We'll play this in a different, more specific session. So what this result is saying that the oil will go north-northwest. So what happened here, once we have this, then we can verify if the oil spill there. And usually, typically, we like to see the wind and current data on this to make sure it's as accurate. And we like to check if it's consistent. We use live data from the vessels and any nearest shore base around that area. This is a typical the result of the data we use. So it's very important that these modelings and current wind data provide us good, accurate information, because it can translate to effective strategy. And we determine basically the helicopter surveillance. And once we find the oil, we can build the response around it. We also, depending if the modeling goes to the shoreline, then we also have drones to verify it. So basically, that is the general step. The modeling gives us the direction, then we verify with one of the methods. So to summarize our presentation, it's hopefully it's clear. We've made it not very long because what this presentation is about is our OECT, Oil Spill Combat Team, basically uses the oil spill trajectory modeling and current and wind data, which is what this session is about. We use this in two things. One is planning. Planning is basically for any port and oil gas operation, it's important that in Indonesia, we do need a pre-approved plan. So this pre-approved plan always contains an oil spill trajectory modeling with stochastic data that we get for the past 5, sometimes 10 years, which is available. We compile the data to build a credible plan, an actionable plan, and most importantly, we make sure that the data is as accurate as possible. So in any scenario, we're able to respond effectively. Second, we do need an actual incident, live accurate wind and current data. Let's say sometime models as well, because we need to forecast. And why is it live data? We prefer not to use the stochastic data. First, stochastic, we usually use it to plan, and also we can verify with the live data, because the live data sometimes day to day, hour by hour is more accurate. We're able to get a fine read of where the oil might go. And then we can also overlay this with radar satellite detection, and then still to be verified by chopper or vessel or other methods such as drone. So it's very important we get this the current and wind data. This is one of the challenges. Simply, if there's an oil spill and we can't get data fast enough, or if we get inconsistent data, how we do is then we need a second or third data source, and then we simply put it all in, we pull it in. And how we do is we don't pick the majority of the correct data. So in a response, we simply survey all of it, because we like to know which data is basically actionable and which is not, because we can't have, let's say, an oil spill that's not detected or verified. So it's very important, this static remodeling as part of our decision making and response strategy. So I guess that's all for today. Hopefully that helps on how we can hopefully contribute to this session, and hopefully Indonesia will have access to better ocean and current models, and we'll very much hope to discuss more with you. And if you have any questions, you can contact me, our counterpart in Indonesia. Our website is, I think, posted on the link as well. Thank you very much. Have a good day and have a good session. Thank you.
So thank you. Please give my regards and thanks to Satya. And we move to our final presentation by Ken Fujiwara from Unitron, Japan. Ken, please.
Enrique, I'm sorry, Ken has an urgent meeting, so he could not join us today. So that's all from the stakeholders.
That's give my thanks. In any case, this system is on the. If somebody wants to learn about it, I think this is on the Engage platform of the event.
Yes.
So you have all the information there about this beautiful application. Yes. So before we move into our final session, I would like to ask you to switch on your cameras so we can make a family photo before we move onto this final session. Roman will be in charge of doing the photo.
Yes, give me 1 second that I open the screen thing.
My cameras have something wrong, so sorry.
Miyazawa-san, please switch on your camera.
The ocean prediction logo is everywhere, Enrique. So that's fantastic.
It's an overdose of prediction.
Good.
Okay, we have one.
And Enrique, I just wanted to mention, I will send that, I will forward that link for the end user survey to the data coordination group.
Great. And maybe you can also put it, if you want, on the chat here.
No, sorry, it's the one that you forwarded earlier in the chat.
Okay, sorry, I was lost. Ah, the one on the
final users.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It was something you were announcing. Thank you for that.
Sorry, it's done. We can move on from this. Thank you, thank you, everyone.
So now this is going to work in the following way. First, Roman is going to make everybody as panelists. So if you receive a message asking you to be a panelist, don't hesitate in saying yes. It's nothing strange. It's just us giving you the possibility of participating, of having the floor. So this is step number one. And step number two, we will look into these topics that I have already highlighted on the chat, and we will give like a few minutes for each one. So please, if you want to participate, do not hesitate in raise your hand, and we will give you the floor. Please switch on your camera and tell us what you think, or do not hesitate to participate. So please, Roman, inform me when you have done all these changes and everybody is ready to ready to participate as panelists. So if you look into the chat, you will see that I have highlighted 5 possible topics for the discussion today. First, we will start on the most important one for today, is how do you think we can improve this document that we have shared with you, the terms of reference? Do you have any additional idea that will help us to improve this topic? Then we will ask you which are the activities that you think Ocean Prediction DCC should focus to improve the situation of ocean forecasting in the region. This is a quite broad question, and it will give you the opportunity to express your ideas about this very broad concept. Then what kind of, going to a more specific thing, we will discuss on what kind of capacity development and ocean literacy activities do you believe are needed in the region? And we will continue with which are the main applications that ocean forecasting is having today in the region. We have seen a few of them, and we will end with which are the main gaps in the region, which is a very important one. So please accept the invitation of Roman if you want to participate and if you want to be a panelist now. And Roman, if this process is already done, I will ask you for let's start for the first question and the most important one for today. It's our plan to approve this document today by the end of this meeting. So how do you think we can improve these terms for reference if you have had the time to look into it? So the floor is yours if there is anybody wanting to participate.
Yes, everyone has been invited, so to participate, just accept the invitation to become panelists. Enrique, everyone is invited. It's all good.
Please do not be shy, and let's start with this one. Raise your hand if you want to have the floor. So this means that we have done a pretty good job with the terms of reference, because you think that there is no additional thing to be added, which is somehow good, but nevertheless, if you we have Yosuke, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, as I wrote in the chat, yeah, we already have many UN decade programs and projects. So yeah, of course, yeah, Ocean Prediction Decade Collaboration Center has some panelists, not members. I'm not sure, but yeah, programs send members to the Decade Collaboration Center. But in the terms of reference, we need to write some connection with the programs and projects. And we have many groups, ocean observing groups, and also prediction groups and ocean health groups. And yeah, we have also the programs and projects related to those agenda. So I think, yeah, in the terms of difference, we need to write which group is connected to which project or program. Well, anyway, I'm not sure how we can collaborate with existing programs or projects and these regional groups.
So I will first of all say that when you look into the document that we provided and you look into the objectives, I think first of all what you're saying is very important, and I completely agree with you that I mean it's on the DNA, it's on the core of the Ocean Prediction DCC to collaborate with the Decade Action. This is why we are here. One of the main reasons for us to be here. So if you look into the objectives, into the document that I provided, the second objective is contribute to the coordination and cooperation with the ocean forecasting related decade actions in the region. So this is objective number one, and I think this is very clearly stated in the document. I think that maybe the terms of reference is maybe not the place to go to a very detailed description of how this coordination will take place, because this is something that we will learn on the while making. I can tell you some initiatives that we are doing. We are collaborating with Fujii, with which includes obviously SYNOPS. We're collaborating with Fujii in the framework of the Ocean Prediction Decade Collaborative, Ocean Forecasting Co-Design Team. Persons from Fujii are in the what we call the compilation team, which will be the team in charge of compiling all the information that we are gathering. And we have other initiatives going on. So I think that we should be aware that it is important to avoid the degree of possible redundancies and things like that. And it is really in the core of what we are doing to contribute to the coordination and cooperation with the decade action, as explained in the objectives now in the present document. I don't know if this is sufficient from our side.
I see. Maybe it would be nice if we can promote these regional groups to participate in the existing decade programs or projects. So
I agree with that, and this is a connection we have to do. Yes, I fully agree with that, and this is something we have to work on. Yes.
Yeah, I see. Thank you.
So thank you for raising your hand and for contributing with this important, let's say, clarification that you were demanding, because this is an important one. Is there any additional comment, clarification, or idea you want to highlight for this document? Fadi, please.
So I was thinking, in case we missed something and we wanted to add later, should we keep a provision for appendix later?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Do not hesitate in contacting Syamsudin with later ideas that might come, because sometimes you need to read this carefully and you came with ideas at a later stage. Please, if you have ideas at a later stage, we are really welcoming those ideas. Please provide these ideas to Syamsudin. So I think we can move, if you agree, to the point number 2 on this discussion. And if I find it, it was, which are the activities you think Ocean Prediction DCC should focus to improve the situation of ocean forecasting in the region? This is a very broad and important question also. So please raise your hand if you have any idea of the kind of activities you would like us to be promoting to help you in the ocean forecasting for the region.
Anderson, if you can comment something on this based on your experience from Westpac IOC.
Oh, sorry. This is Kendo. Sorry, I could not join this meeting at all, so very difficult to comment now. But as long as I heard Fujii-san's comment, I think this group will provide to other decade actions in this region. So maybe they try to develop the collaboration. So sorry, that's all what I want to say. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this. So do you think there's something additional that we have not seen, maybe related to how we could build this? There's something that certainly we will need, and is to reinforce the communication aspects. I want to mention that it is our plan, once our webpage will be ready, to establish a communication channel with all the regions, so we can keep updated the section on news, and we would like to have a strong focal communication point on each region that is asking, for example, the different institutions and the different expert teams on regular basis, so we can gather this information and we can provide this information on the web page, let's say on regular basis. So we keep this community alive. So we're moving to the next question, which is more specific. Maybe this is easier to reply. Please, as again, I ask you to raise your hand if you have something to suggest on this one. What kind of capacity development and ocean literacy activities do you believe are needed in the region? So we have seen very beautiful presentation about capacity development and ocean literacy today, and I would like to highlight, to ask you, what kind of activities do you believe are needed? Are those hackathons? Are those courses on specific things? What do you feel is missing for you? I don't see any raised hands. Okay, Aileen, please. Floor is yours.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I think I feel what is needed, capacity development is something we surely need in the region. The engagement, and also the interlinkages of different disciplines, multidisciplinary, transboundary issues, all those has not been addressed, and also not forgetting that inequality in terms of facilities to support the research itself. So those are it might be relevant to your last questions on the gaps, and also even sometimes after capacity development, how many of those trainees or the mentees continue to do what they're supposed to do back in their country if the infrastructure do not support. Yeah, so those are the things, not just creating more training workshops, but how do we sustain participants or the trainers or the trainees to continue doing it back in their country? Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Enrique.
No, thank you very much. I think this is very important. So what you are saying basically is that we have to, if I understood correctly, linking with the first presentation by Ronan, where she has this loop, and at the end of the loop there was a evaluation of the impact of the capacity development and ocean literacy activities. If I understand correctly, what you are saying is that we should stress to a larger extent the importance of this evaluation process. So we are somehow able to track if this capacity development is having an impact on the trainees that are going there. This is at least partially what you're saying.
Yeah, not just completing the questionnaire. After each workshop, for example, a year later, after workshop, how do we now ensure or measure how many of those attending the workshop is actually applying what they have learned back home? That is important. To my after conducting so many workshops, we always feel that doesn't move, capacity development agenda much.
Also, I think we have to link it to that. I think we have to look forward in the way that those that are trained are at the same time have at the same time the responsibility or the will to train other people. So this converts into a chain.
Yeah, training is one thing, but also in terms of the capacity to run what has been learned back home, in terms of infrastructure support, in terms of if it's monitoring, you might need to have some expedition. Those are all requires support funding and etc. Yeah.
Roman, please.
No, thank you, Aileen. It's just to add to what you say. Of course, we don't have all the response and the correct answer right now, and this is why this year we are building this plan, and we need this kind of input. But it's for sure that we have witnessed as well in our activities that maintaining a feedback over time is very important, and also kind of not an issue, but a real challenge. Because of course we're doing surveys after training, for example, but we really need to find the correct approach to maintain the contact, to be sure that what we bring as knowledge is continue to be useful, is still relevant, and that we correctly help to develop capacity. And so maintaining this link over time is really one of the key elements that we must find innovative ideas for, in our opinion.
Right, so we have a very interesting message on the chat from Ciarifa. Sorry, my pronunciation is not perfect here. Capacity building for systematic impact. I completely agree with Professor Aileen's perspective of capacity building. It's essential that any capacity building initiative have a systemic impact to effectively address the existing gaps in the home country. Simply conducting training or providing resources without addressing the underlying systemic issues will not lead to sustainable and impactful change. Okay, so that means that we should link capacity development with something much more complex, which is the systemic gaps. Therefore, capacity building initiatives should be designed with a holistic approach that takes into account the specific context and challenges of the home country, with a focus on creating long-term solutions. I can't agree more. This is very well expressed. Thank you very much for this comment. But the good news is that we see the importance of capacity development, capacity building. The bad news is that it has to be done in a much more complex and broader context, which is related to the system where this capacity development will somehow land. But this is a very good point, and something we have to learn and we have to consider in the capacity development plan that we're going to do. So does anyone else want to participate in this debate, or shall we move to the following points? Okay, we move to the following point, which is, I would like maybe to merge these last bullets. One is about the main application that ocean forecasting is having today on the region. So if you want to express something that beyond the presentation that we have had about why ocean forecasting is being important in the region today. And even more important, we would like to have your ideas about the main gaps in the region. So, for example, do we have a similar technical level in the different countries in the region? I don't think so. I don't think this is the case. So I think ocean prediction can be important in somehow contributing to level to support the development of those countries that are less technologically advanced. So please let us know which are the main gaps today in the region from your point of view. I have the feeling that maybe this approach then it's a little bit unstructured, and we should go for a more structured approach, maybe through emailing or maybe through surveys, because we don't get a very good participation from the panel in these questions. Maybe they are not they are too broad for our first meeting today. It's not a problem at all. So we will slowly go building this community, and we will slowly be gaining the trust. So I'm sure in future occasions we will be able to have a more animated panel at the end of the meeting. So I think from my side this is all, and I would like to give back the floor to Syamsudin so he can close the meeting. I think we are right on time. We lose a little bit of time on the presentation, but we gain some time finally with this open session.
Thank you, Enrique, and thanks everybody for joining us today. And it was really nice to have all the presentations and also discussions. We still need to identify the gaps. We had some discussion about the gaps during the presentations and chats. We'll pick them up something, and then also we need to engage the user community more to understand the gaps. From the researcher point of view, we know what is the gap. Major thing is funding. So we need funding to enhance our activities and go further. At the same time, develop digital tools and other things for users. So definitely we'll go for that. And thank you, Enrique, for giving us this opportunity to develop this team, and we are looking forward to work together. I
don't want to close without saying that your work, Syamsudin, has been absolutely wonderful to start building this community. I'm really thankful for the work you have done here. As we mentioned it before, this is the first meeting. That means that the first meeting of any region, that means that we have been moving faster, we have been moving better than in other region. So this is all very much thanks to you, Syamsudin, and I thank you very much to you.
Also, thanks to all the participants and the team leaders taking care of all the activities. And I hope our meetings will not be online always. So hopefully we'll have some in-person meetings in Tokyo or somewhere. Thank you.
Much for those accepting to be topic experts, because that will imply some work, obviously. So really thank you for using your time in building this community with us. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's all from my side. And Enrique, if you want to say something at the end.
Have a nice evening, nice morning for us here. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good meeting. Bye.
Thank you very much.